Joe Rafferty, I'm the CEO of VESTECK. We're a Delaware C corporation based out of Westchester, Pennsylvania. We're raising $16 million for Series B, and that will fund our 510K clinical trial. The first device we're going to market is called the SUTURE-TIGHT Catheter. We're targeting the aortic repair space. We'll load 4 nitinol sutures. That's the picture on the lower right there. We'll load 4 nitinol sutures in this catheter. When physicians see it, they're very comfortable. They talk about using it in the peripheral market, the venous market, and even structural heart. This was a slide that wasn't in the presentation, and one of the VCs that discussed and did some coaching earlier today said, make sure you get this right up front. We've accomplished 14 first-in-human cases. All the patients are doing well. The sutures are in place. The grafts are in place. Everybody's happy. 8 different physicians implanted this device, so it's not one of those that folks have to be of exceptional skill sets to do it. Again, significantly de-risked. The KOLs around the country, around the world really, are speaking about it at all the major meetings. We have a very clear 510K clinical pathway. After 6 meetings, 6 pre-sub meetings with FDA, there are no questions that are going to delay us and cause us expensive problems. 100 patients, 1-year follow-up. We'll do half of those patients in Australia, and we'll leverage that Australian R&D investment credit. There are existing DRGs and CPTs. You have 43.7%, and the currency exchange rate. So we spend $1, it costs us about 26 cents. The existing DRGs and CPT codes are there. Thank you, Medtronic, both for the initial implant and for the repair procedure. We have 3 new patents that will give a potential M&A partner 20 years of runway. We've patented the system from end to end, and then about 25 different versions of the sutures. As I said, we mentioned the Australia LLC has been formed. One of the tells relative to the market is, frankly, Medtronic, the largest medical device company in the world, has just placed a very significant bet. They're doing 3 very large clinical trials on this very space. Large diameter necks with anchors, without anchors, etc. So that may be a tell if you're a poker player. There is a significant problem. As you heard earlier, the population is getting older, and Sophie Nova out of Europe placed a big bet on a company that is probably not going to make it to market in the endovascular repair space, but they're known for doing great due diligence and understanding investment opportunities. There we go. The problem, family member or friend is diagnosed with an aortic aneurysm. They have 2 therapeutic options. The first being open surgical repair, obviously a difficult recovery, and if they get on the table with any comorbidities, they've got a almost 20% chance of not getting off. Endovascular repair, 80% of the patients around the world are opting for this along with their physicians. It's a great procedure. Patients go home very, very quickly the next day. The challenge is peer-reviewed literature would suggest it's not very durable. So if you look at these 2 little black boxes, the surgical repair has sutures there. The little black box doesn't. It has radial force. There's one company out there that doesn't apply radial force to the neck of the aorta. We're going to apply our sutures to all the other companies. Why now? As I said, 80% around the world. The peer-reviewed literature is documenting that this is an event, a challenge that's happening all over the world. Payers are shifting to quality initiatives, and we've got a solution. This article just came out, and frankly, it's a bit scary, but they're attributing all of these ruptures, early ruptures, and migration and leaks to the fact that these grafts are moving. Lower left there, we've got what's called a biasing mesh. The physician will slide that forward. The mesh opens up and it holds the catheter against the wall of the graft. And then we've got a suture delivery window. The physician literally pulls the sutures down into the window, very much like holding a needle holder and a needle and suturing the graft in place. So if you can imagine, the mesh goes up, the blood can still flow through, so we're not causing any arrhythmias. The sutures can be delivered very quickly, very precisely. We just did cases down in Australia. Very first time the physician used it, placed 4 sutures exactly where he wanted them in 4 minutes. So not a lot of radiation time, not a lot of exposure. This is critical in that physicians love the idea that they can deliver a suture, not release it, pull it back into the catheter, reposition it if they want, if they're not in the exact correct spot. I won't play the whole video, but suffice it to say 4 sutures in 1 minute and 10 seconds. The middle picture is it's a Cook graft, and if you can see around the edges there are semicircles or circles. We'll put right now 4 pair of sutures into the quadrants, and the key lower right there, you can see in that cadaveric tissue, we're through and through the adventitious. So we're going through the graft, we're purchasing the adventitia, and those grafts are not going anywhere. 2 large markets, the initial implant market, and then there are about 1 million patients around the world with these grafts, and they're failing at quite an alarming rate. Some would say it's an install base for us to address. There are arguably no tools out there like ours. It's a platform. We can go from the aortic valve all the way down to the iliacs. Physicians want to take it into the venous business, and we'll scale in that regard. There have been a lot of very big and lucrative M&A opportunities recently. These folks all have opportunities to tuck VESTECK into their sales bag. Even Endologics, which is that one graft company that doesn't put excessive force, they can use it as a leverage to bring business into their bag. 2 competitors, Medtronic. This device is quite old. It is challenging for the physicians to use. The patents are about up, and it would remind you of the old colonial rifles that you have to reload every time you want to use it. That applier has to come out. They pick up a corkscrew and go back in, and it's quite challenging. Enduron has an idea. It's Sophie Nova's product. The challenge is they're delivering all 8 sutures at once. Aortas are heterogeneous, not homogeneous. You have calcium thrombus, and bottom line is I don't know that we'll ever see it get to market. We've got a global scientific advisory board, Cleveland Clinic, Arizona Heart, Australia, USC. We've got the folks that are on the advisory boards for all of the global strategics, and they're letting us know what we need to do. We've got a leadership team with vast endovascular market knowledge. Bob Mitchell is here, our chairman is here. They know how to execute and exit. We'll have our FDA clearance completed by Q1 of 27. Yes, I padded that a bit. It's probably going to be sooner, but overpromise and underdeliver. We've got more clinical applications than any one device really needs, but that's a great value add to have. This was designed by physicians to fit very smoothly into their workflow, safe, fast, easy to use. So what we've started to say, the tagline is VESTECK will become the standard of care in this endovascular space, and the case isn't finished until it's suture tight. Again, we're raising $16 million, and I'm happy to chat with anybody afterwards. Thanks.